Okay, I'm gonna try to make this short and sweet. So, this is a 2010 Dodge Ram 1500. Whenever I bought the truck, it had the service four-wheel drive light on, and the ESP BAS was on, and the traction control light was on. I didn't know for sure if it was, four-wheel drive or anything like that needed serviced. But I looked it up, found out that it was a speed sensor, so my cruise control wasn't working. The light wouldn't come on, wouldn't engage at all, wouldn't let me use it. So, speed sensor, I got that fixed. And I've never had AC in this truck, and I put some UV Freon in it. Figured out that the leak was the evaporator core. Long story short, well, I had to rip the whole dash out, drop the steering column, and whenever you do that, you got to unplug all the wires and stuff. And I got everything plugged in, everything was right. And I've had some issues with the four-wheel drive and the ESP BAS coming back on. Came on once whenever I was hauling a trailer, and it went right back off. So I didn't know if maybe a speed sensor was going out of it again. So fast forward to putting everything back together, fixing the AC, the light came back on. Four-wheel drive ESP BAS came back on with the traction control light, which is right there. It came back on and stayed on. Didn't go back off. And I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. I changed the speed sensors again. I didn't change the front. The front looked fine. And honestly, I got lazy. Didn't want to do the front. A lot harder to do the front. So, that didn't fit. So, I got on YouTube, tried to figure out if there's anything else that could cause those lights to come on besides the four-wheel drive itself being something wrong with that. And the only difference I noticed was whenever it came on this time, my cruise control would come back on. It would still work. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not the speed sensors, because, I figured maybe that might not be the problem, saying that the cruise control still works. So the only other option I had was to get on Google and look up forums. And I found one, and they said their issue was this. Let me see if I can get a good view. It's right up there. It's that brake light. Brake light switch. Right there. Right there. Which I did take that off. And whenever I took it off, the button, it's an adjustable button. Nobody tells you that in any of the videos or anything I've freaking seen. It's an adjustable button. And it sits in this little hole, and the brake comes forward and pushes against that button. Well, the button, whenever I took it out, was smashed all the way in, which won't hurt it. It's adjustable, like I said. Well, whenever I pulled that button out, it came out way too far, and I had to adjust it. And once I adjusted it, it started working just fine. Well, as soon as I took that button out and it extended it and did it manually by hand while the truck was running, that light went completely off. And I was like, well, how the heck, like I was trying to figure out how to be able to diagnose that. And because I didn't understand why it was causing that stuff to come on, which, I mean, I guess I can see, it's a braking issue is what the computer thinks, so it's going to throw codes. So the only thing I can figure to diagnose that is to get out and check your truck, the tail lights of your truck. And if they're constantly illuminated and your brake lights won't shut off, it's your brake light switch. And it can either be bad or the button's just pushed in too far or whatnot. So that's the first thing I would do, is check that, because that was my issue. I didn't have no other. It was a speed sensor, but if you can turn your cruise control on, your cruise control works, but the light's still on, then it can't be a speed sensor issue. Because the speed sensor, it's going to throw a code saying there's something wrong with the speed sensor. It's not going to lock in your speed because it doesn't know what actual speed you're running. So that would be a speed sensor issue. And the only other time I've seen it come on was due to the brake light switch. So if there's cruise control is working, get out, check your brake lights. Your brake lights are not working. They're permanently stuck on. So if you're driving down the road and you put on your brakes, they're not going to illuminate because they're already illuminated, and somebody could think that they're just your running lights and smash right into the back of you. So you need to get that fixed as soon as possible, and it'll solve these problems. If you got any questions, you can comment.